If I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna talk that law. Let's talk about it. But before I begin, for those who may not know me, I'm a Texas trial attorney. Y'all see the law license on the wall signed by the 9 justices of the Supreme Court. I was minding my business. I was drinking my water. And somebody said, we got some action today. So we're going to talk about it. What's going on, 313, the best side? Pink Adjuster. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all here. Where y'all come from? All right, let's see what we got. Oh, we got the seal. The seal of the state of Georgia. Come on. Somebody say, come on in the room. Come on in the room. These are they hiding in the bushes. For the people that's coming in, if y'all don't mind hitting the like button, I know some of y'all may watch this later on. Thank y'all for that in advance. Definitely appreciate it. So from my understanding, we're having 2 more plea deals. 2 more guilty pleas. So let's see what the fuss is about. We should be getting started any moment now. This is insanity because the trial started with 6 people. Last week, it was 6 people in the courtroom. The last time we had trial, 6 people. Now we're going to be down to 3. That's going to be really strange when the jury gets back and they see half of the group sitting out there in the crowd. I don't even know what type of curative instruction the judge can give to the jury. What's she gonna say? Ignore those people. Ignore those empty chairs. They're not here anymore. Just if you see their name in your notes, rip those pages out your note and throw them in the trash. Put them in the shredder. Don't even worry about it. Act like they never was here. Act like we never switched judges. I know I look different. I know I got a different skin tone and a bald head. I know the last judge had a bald head, but hey, I'm a new judge and there's a new prosecution team, new defendants that's gone. Everything is new. You remember last time they left, they came back, it was a different judge. Oh, pretend it's not a different judge. Pretend I'm still the same bald head man that was sitting here. Shout out to the bald head. No offense. They say keep on living. Hey, you might get there with them. No offense, but we have a different judge the last time. Now they're going to come back. It's going to be different defendants. Not per se different, but missing defendants. It's a different environment. Because they're going to say, okay, I remember him sitting there. Okay, I remember he was supposedly did this and he supposedly did that. But where are those people? They're going to go home and they're going to research. Forget that you don't hear the dog barking in the background. Forgot about the service dog named Jack. Forget Jack barking in the court. Even though sometimes if you listen real good, you can still hear Jack barking in the neighboring courtroom. Forget everything's changed. We're here now. It's a new day. What's that song say? It's a new dawn. It's a new day and I'm feeling good. 313 said the way he was smacking in the microphone, leave him where he at. Don't even bring him up. What's going on with Jiggy? You know they're going to miss Ponytail. They definitely going to miss him. And I believe Doug Weinstein released a statement saying that the only thing the state won with that plea deal from Tuesday is that YSL ponytail is gonna be gone. Ponytail. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here we go. If I can share this, let's see. Since we got a little time, let me move myself out the way. He say we are a lesser team in the YSL case without the contributions from Bruce Harvey, Nicole Westmoreland, and Lamar Gardner. Their skills, contributions, advice, and daily friendship will be missed. In that sense only, you have to put that in there. The plea from Mr. Nichols yesterday was a win for the state. In totality, Nichols' legal team was able to negotiate a fantastic deal for him that he clearly believed was in his interest, and all can walk away with heads held high. And I do believe, from my understanding, that he really didn't want to take the deal with Nichols, but his wife was very adamant that he take the deal. He said, hey, you know good to us sitting in a jail cell. You got a whole family, you got a wife, you got kids at home. We need you here. You've been gone for way too long. Enough is enough. Take the deal. Yes, you might win at trial, but we need you home at a date and time certain, not a maybe. We need you home right now. And Bruce said, we definitely need you working. Because from my understanding, they paid over $100,000 to Bruce Harvey, that attorney, according to the wife. So we definitely need you working. Y'all seen the Harvey? Let me see if I can find it. Boy, Harvey is wild. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Bruce Harvey fight. See if we can find it. I think it was this. Yeah, let's see.
In the courtroom after an attorney.
Let's start over.
We have assigned rules.
Fireworks in the courtroom after an attorney tried to keep our camera from recording his client, who's a former officer accused in a deadly hit and run. Channel 2's Tom Jones is live at the Fulton County Courthouse, where the victim's family says this was another example of the former officer not accepting responsibility. Tom?
That's right, Wendy. But we want to let our audience know, before we can bring a camera into court, we have to have the judge sign what's called a Rule 22. That's this document right here. We had the judge sign it and had approval to go in, but attorney Bruce Harvey says he wasn't aware our camera would be there, and he became very upset. There were fireworks, but the victim's mother says this is more about getting justice for her son.
All right, y'all, we got to finish this. We'll finish this in a second. I do see movement in the courtroom. Movement in the court.
The county is now in session. Judge Page Reese Whitaker presiding. Court come to order.
Good afternoon. So I understand we have a few pleas to be tendered. And are we going to do them at the same time or separately? All right.
Definitely separate.
Are you ready,
Woman.
Ms. Vossi? Yes, All right. And he's handling this for the state.
You're right. It'll be Simone Hilton for the state.
All right. Thank you.
Lil Rod.
All right, Ms. Ryan. Yeah, come up to the podium, and then Sergeant Ingram, can you swear Mr. Ryan in?
Could be interesting.
Yes, sir. Rodalius Ryan, Rodalius Ryan, Ryan.
And Mr. Ryan, are you the same person referred to as Rodalius Ryan on indictment number 22SC 183572?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you at this time under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
Currently 20 years old.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you are charged in this indictment with count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act, which carries a sentence of 5 to 20 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to go over this plea of guilty and waiver of rights form with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you and your attorney both reviewed it and you signed this document?
Yes, ma'am. That's my signature.
That's your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Ms. Leah Abbasi, about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding charges in this indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to speak with her about any potential defenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need any more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No.
Are you satisfied with her counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
You also had another attorney, Ms. Angela D. Williams. Are you satisfied with her counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you waive any defects, if any, with respect to the indictment?
No, ma'am. Could you repeat that for me?
Sure. Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment? If
Yes.
And have you been arrested on these charges, specifically count 1, the conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act?
He was already in custody, so he was not taken into custody for these charges. However, he was booked for the charges
You
in
said it.
Fulton County Jail.
Okay.
And he was served with the arrest warrants on this.
Yes.
Has Ms. Abbasi advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for the charge that you are pleading to?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 10 years to serve, commuted to the time you have served in this case? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that this sentence should run concurrently with the sentence that you are already serving for 19 SC 168236? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the court does not have to accept this recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
And the court can sentence you to the maximum on this charge?
I understand.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you are not in
I'm
the
sorry,
United
one
States?
moment.
That is strange. He's asking a lot of questions right now. He should know everything he needs to know at this point. So now I'm getting kind of concerned. Do he really understand what's going on?
Please repeat the question. Do you
The one on
understand that the
enhancing
convictions?
sentence, that one, the one on enhancing sentence?
Yes, I just needed to explain a bit more what that means.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just like a conviction at a trial would, and that this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, your right to hold public office, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, and transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand if you went to trial, you have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights? And after I say each right, I'll ask you to respond, okay? The right to trial by jury,
Yes.
the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself,
Yes.
the right to confront witnesses against you,
Yes.
the right to assist of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at the trial of your case,
Yes.
the right to the presumption of innocence,
Yes.
the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence,
Yes, ma'am.
the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence,
Yes, ma'am.
the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt,
Yes.
and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after trial.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No, ma'am.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183572, how do you plead to count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of the charge against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have 4 years from today's date to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness and constitutionality of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand that you have 30 days in which to appeal your conviction based on your plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you also understand that you have until the end of this term of court to file a motion seeking to withdraw your guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if this case were to proceed and continue with trial, Your Honor, evidence has shown and will further show that Mr. Ryan conspired with others to participate in the Young Slime Life gang through a pattern of racketeering activity, and multiple defendants and unindicted co-conspirators have committed overt acts to further this conspiracy, including drug sales, aggravated assault, and murder, also including social media posts asserting the violent nature and dominance of Young Slime Life, aka YSL. Your Honor, the court has been present for evidence regarding the February 23rd, 2019 homicide of Mr. Jamari Holmes, in which Mr. Ryan and YSL co-conspirator, Damon Blaylock, lured both Jamari Holmes, Bernard Mitchell, and Rodney Uten to an apartment at 50 Mount Zion Road, which is in the Cleveland Avenue area. The evidence came out that during the course of that incident, that Mr. Ryan, along with Mr. Blaylock, emerged from the apartment complex, shooting at the vehicle which Mr. Holmes, Mr. Uten, and Mr. Mitchell were in, shooting Mr. Holmes in the head. After this incident, a few hours later, Mr. Ryan is seen posting on social media, on a public social media post, saying Bet YSL makes the news. Right, there has been other social media posts in which Mr. Ryan has promoted or enhanced the reputation of YSL. Your Honor, the state intended to show further evidence that once Mr. Ryan was convicted of the homicide of Mr. Holmes while in prison, he continued to enhance the reputation, power, and territory of YSL. Specifically, when YSL co-conspirator and co-defendant Christian Eppinger was given a bond for shooting at an Atlanta police officer, Mr. Ryan, while on a contraband phone in prison, posted on his social media accounts, he flashed the YSL sign and stated, "We're coming to get you. YSL shit, free my N-word bris, F the DA, the gangway, we cash our bonds on this shit." Your Honor, this is the evidence that the state would have intended to show if we would continue the trial. Given the current status, Your Honor, we've made an offer to Mr. Ryan for this commuted to time served offers for my concurrent with his current conviction, Your Honor. And I can approach the documents.
You may.
Sound like he got a good deal. Time served, even though he has a life sentence right now, that's currently on appeal. And I believe Brian's still his attorney for that.
And I wanted to just add one thing to the information about the different methods you have to file things after this plea. And that is that Misty Williams and Miss Abbasi will represent you until either the end of this term of court or 30 days, whichever's later. And so they would be the ones to talk to about filing those things, unless either of them is permitted to withdraw before that time. They would be the ones to file those for you. Okay.
No.
All right, Miss Abbasi, is there anything that the defense wants to add to the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I have had the honor really of representing Mr. Ryan along with Misty Williams, who I'm quite disappointed she could not be here today for an important day. This trial has been exhausting for everybody, and that certainly includes Mr. Ryan, who has been going through the court system since he was 15 years old. We categorically and adamantly deny that YSL is the criminal dangerous street gang, which it's been made out to be through this trial. We're actually quite happy with the record, which was established during the presentation of the state's evidence of the alleged murder of Mr. Jamari Holmes. This plea today, Mr. Ryan is making a decision which is going to be the best for his future, what future he has, because he's already serving a life sentence. Were he to be convicted and sentenced to additional time, he would remain in custody. As I stated, we think the record established will strongly support his appeal, and hopefully, when his conviction is overturned, we don't want him sitting in prison for something else. Certainly not for actions he took when he was younger, and actions he took which are largely a product of how he grew up. As I stated, Your Honor, Mr. Ryan was 15 years old at the time of the Jamari Holmes murder. You've seen through the text messages, he was out at all different hours, doing all different things, which I don't think anyone would want their 15-year-old to be out doing. And so that is where he was. And so he did adopt the people who were around him, the people who could support him, the people in his neighborhood who grouped themselves, calling themselves YSL. Mr. Ryan at no point was trying to advance a criminal street gang and their interests. He was trying to protect himself, being a young person, largely on his own, and this is where he's ended up. I would like to say that there's been some sort of rehabilitative function here since he was sentenced to prison. It doesn't appear that that has happened. As you've heard, some of his additional cases are within the prison system. It would be wonderful if some of the money spent on a case like this could possibly be invested in the future of people like Mr. Ryan, who go into custody at such a young age, and who really then are not given the resources to make the changes that they really would like to make to have a productive future. With all of that said, I think Mr. Ryan has grown up a lot during this trial. He doesn't want to sit through this anymore. He doesn't want to ever be back in a courtroom ever again, Your Honor. He's heard about all sorts of incidents, which the 2015 crimes, he was 11 years old. Mr. Ryan's most sincere wish is to move on with his life, to put this behind him. And we thank the court for the opportunity to resolve the case in this way and not drag it out any further than it has been. He just would like to thank the court, Judge.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Ryan, I just want to make sure that you understand that this is ultimately, the decision is yours to make, not your attorneys. And I appreciate that both Ms. Abbasi and Misty Williams have been available and giving you legal advice and guidance, but it's ultimately your decision. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And do you, in fact, want to plead guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you've had enough time to think about it and to discuss it with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Ms. Abbasi, have you and or Mr. Williams talked to Mr. Ryan about the benefits and drawbacks of all of his different options?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right. I find that there is a factual basis for the guilty plea to count 1, the conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. Whatever the difference of opinion may be with regard to what YSL is or isn't, and what Mr. Ryan may or may not have intended. There is a factual basis that exists from the record as it already is in this case to support the necessary elements of the conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. And I have heard many of the alleged overt acts and the conspiracy evidence to advance the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity and to control personal property and money. And I find that the factual basis for that exists. And I am going to accept Mr. Ryan's guilty plea. I find it to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences of this plea. And I'm going to sentence in accord with the recommendation that both of the state and the defense have worked hard to negotiate here, which is a sentence of 10 years commuted to time served and to be run concurrently with the sentence that Mr. Ryan is currently serving. And certainly within the court's consideration is the knowledge that Mr. Ryan is at this time serving a life sentence for the murder of Mr. Holmes. And while I understand that that is on appeal right now, those are the facts as they exist right now. So that is the sentence of this court. Mr. Ryan, at 20 years old, you have most of your life ahead of you, and I don't know what it is going to hold with regard to your appeal or anything after that. But whether it is more years in custody or whether at some point in time you see the light of day to the outside world again, which is very likely considering your age, as long as you behave yourself while you're incarcerated and do not continue to either commit crimes in prison or violate any of the prison rules. If you can be on the straight and narrow, then somebody your age, after serving some amount of time, is probably going to be considered favorably for parole. And you just have to keep that in mind, that you need to be looking out for sort of the long run and not playing the short game, but playing the long game so that you have a future in front of you still. So that is your sentence, and I wish you luck, and I wish that with further maturity, much like Ms. Abbasi has said that you have already exhibited throughout the course of this trial, that you are able to make better decisions and steer your life in a better direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on here with the Jordans.
Mr. Matthews, are y'all ready? All right.
Okay, now we got.
You may. Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and, where's Mr. Foster? Give you this documents, and then it's not
So we have Huey coming up next. I don't think it was a bad deal. Time
So
served.
we already have the signed copy of the indictment. Mr. Huey and Mr. Ryan have both signed, so I have that already. Yes.
All right, y'all. Okay, looks like we're getting a second plea. Let's go. Let's see what kind of deal he got, because we know he has new charges that he just picked up along with his mother and his sister.
And Sergeant, if you can swear in Mr. Huey.
Yes. And Marquavius Huey.
Gunner, we have just
received the redacted document here. So if I can have an opportunity just to execute the.
Absolutely.
Document. Thank you.
Right. Double check it, triple check it. He said he just got the redacted document. You know you can't put nothing past the state. They been to slip some in there like they did Moon Tomb. Let's see him sign it. Let me move out the way. But yeah, so we know he has charges pending right now. Apparently, or allegedly, his mother, his sister, and him, they were all in cahoots with a deputy at the jail. And they were moving some big money and drugs.
And Mr. Matthews, just so that the record is clear, I know that y'all are just now signing I guess it's still a, 5-page document? This is not the first time you're seeing the most of what's in that document, correct?
Absolutely
This is,
not.
right.
We've seen
So
this.
there were a couple of items removed from the sentencing acknowledgments at your request. Is that right?
That is correct. Your
Okay.
Honor.
And otherwise, other than that section 4, everything has essentially stayed the same with regard to the rest of the document. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
All right. And you and Mr. Matthews and Mr. Huey were aware of the changes that were getting made?
Yes.
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Do y'all need any additional time to look over the refreshed document?
Yes.
We do not, Your
All
Honor.
right.
I've reviewed it
Are you?
and we are ready to proceed.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right, let's go then.
Okay, I have it.
That boy be dressing, don't he?
No, that's all right. It's essentially the same.
They say call
Thank you.
him Salad because he be dressing.
So you've got the waiver of rights and this separate kind of list of the charges and the sentences. Okay. And the indictment is with Ms. Rosser. I'm ready whenever.
We can't even hear.
Yes.
I think he already got sworn, so you're double sworn at this point.
Marquavius Huey, MARQUAVIUS, HUEY.
And are you the same Marquavius Huey on indictment 22 SC 183572?
Yes.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
How old are you?
28.
And how far did you go in school?
12th grade high school diploma.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you were in this indictment charged with count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, which carried a sentence of 5 to 20 years?
Yes.
Count 3, you were initially charged with armed robbery, which carried a sentence of 10 to 20 years or life.
Yes.
You were charged with count 4 and 5 of this indictment, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which each carried a sentence of 1 to 20 years.
Yes.
You were charged with count 6 and count 7 in this indictment, which you charged on possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Yes.
And that carried a sentence of 5 years to serve consecutive to any other count in the indictment.
Yes.
You were also charged with armed robbery in counts 14 and 15.
Yes.
Also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for count 16 and 17.
Yes.
You were charged with hijacking a motor vehicle in the first degree.
Yes.
You were initially charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Yes.
Counts 19 and 20. You were charged with 4 counts of participation in criminal street gang activity, which were counts 21, 22, 23,
Yes.
And you were charged with possession of a weapon by an incarcerated individual, which was count 44, and possession of a telecommunication device by an incarcerated individual, which was count 45. You understand that those were your initial charge in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges?
Yes.
And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to go over this waiver of rights form with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this your signature on this document on page 4 of this document?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorneys, Carrington Matthews Sr. and Carrington Matthews Jr., about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charge in this indictment, including any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need any more time to discuss this matter with your attorney?
Nope.
Are you are you satisfied with their counsel and representation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
Yes.
Do you waive any defects, if any, with respect to the indictment?
Yes.
Is it your understanding, have you been arrested on all of the charges contained within this indictment?
Yes.
And Mr. Matthews Jr., are you aware of any other outstanding warrants for these charges?
We are not aware of any.
Have your attorneys advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge that you are pleading to?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court the following sentence?
Yes.
Let me tell you the sentence question. As to count 1, which is conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, the state's recommendation is 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, the balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 3, armed robbery, based on the negotiations, the state will reduce the armed robbery to robbery and offer a sentence of 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with count 1, the balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 4, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the state will recommend 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1 and count 3, balance of 11 years on probation. As to count 5, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the state agrees to null pros or dismiss that count. As to count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, the state's recommendation is 5 years to serve, consecutive to counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 44 to be suspended. As to count 7, possession of firearms during the commission of a felony, the state will null pros or dismiss that count. As to count 14, which is armed robbery, will reduce that to robbery, 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1, 3, and 4, balance of 11 years on probation. Count 15, armed robbery reduced to robbery, 20 years to serve 9 years in custody, concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, and 14, balance of 11 years on probation. Count 16 will be null pros or dismissed. Count 17, that count will merge with count 15. Count 18 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Count 19, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, will be 5 years to serve, 5 years to serve consecutive to counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, 17, and 44, but concurrent with count 6, and that will be suspended. Count 20 will be null pros or dismissed by the state. Count 21 will be 5 years to serve, concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, and 44. Count 22 will be non-pros or dismissed by the state, as well as count 23 will be non-pros or dismissed by the state. Count 44, possession of a weapon by an incarcerated individual, will be 5 years to serve concurrent with counts 1, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 17. And counts 45 and 46 will be non-pros or dismissed by the state. Do you understand that that's the state's recommendation?
Yes.
Do you understand that the total sentence is 25 years to serve 9 years in custody with a balance of 14 years? 9 of those 14 years will be served on probation and 5 years will be suspended. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that the court does not have to accept that recommendation?
Yes.
And the court can sentence you to the maximum of each charge and can run those charges consecutively, one after the other.
Yes.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes.
Do you understand if you are currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on your entering a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes.
And do you understand that there were several special conditions of probation that you must adhere to, which are contained within this documentation?
Yes.
And have you had an opportunity to go over each of these special conditions with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also go over with your attorneys your sentencing acknowledgments regarding this plea agreement?
Yes.
And is this also your signature on this documentation with your attorney going over each of the sentencing, each of the special conditions of probation?
Yes.
And did you fully understand the special conditions of probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hilton, can you pass that document up to the court, please? Thank you.
Did you want to review before I continue?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are not a United States citizen? A guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just like a conviction at a trial would, and that this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes.
Do you understand that neither the court, your attorney, nor the district attorney's office has anything to do with parole, the Department of Corrections, or the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and no one can guarantee parole no matter what anyone has told you?
Yes.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, your right to hold public office, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights? And after each right, I'll ask you to respond. The right to trial by jury,
Yes.
the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself,
Yes.
the right to confront witnesses against you,
Yes.
the right to assist of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at the trial of your case,
Yes.
the right to presumption of innocence,
Yes.
the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence,
Yes.
the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence,
Yes.
the right to have the charge against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt,
Yes.
and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183572, how do you plead to the charges in that indictment?
I plead guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you understand you have 4 years from today's date to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness and constitutionality of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have 30 days in which to appeal your conviction based on your plea today?
Yes.
And do you understand that you have until the end of this term of court to file a motion seeking to withdraw your guilty plea?
Yes.
Your Honor, if this case were to go to trial, the state would expect, or if we were to continue this trial, the state would expect to show, or evidence has shown and will show, that Mr. Huey conspired with others to participate in YSL through a pattern of racketeering activity, and multiple defendants, as well as unindicted co-conspirators, have committed overt acts to further this conspiracy, to include drug sales, aggravated assault, and murder. Also, it includes posting on social media, asserting the violent nature of and the dominance of young slime life, aka YSL. Specifically, Mr. Huey himself participated in 2 robberies. He posted on social media, and he engaged in text messages with his fellow co-conspirators. On April 26, 2019, Mr. Huey, along with another individual, armed Mr. Dewan Maynard, at an apartment complex located on Masargo Drive in the Buckhead neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. He robbed Mr. Maynard at gunpoint and pistol whipped him. Mr. Huey was wearing a very distinctive yellow jacket. He stole a ring, a necklace, a luxury wallet, and other items. He then fled the scene in a black Mustang. Portions of this robbery, Your Honor, were caught on surveillance video. After the robbery, Mr. Huey was seen on his social media account with the ring and necklace that were identical to the items that were stolen from Mr. Maynard. Additionally, on Instagram, Your Honor, on social media, there were several pictures of Mr. Huey photographed next to a black Mustang. There were several pictures. Lastly, there were pictures of Mr. Huey on his social media wearing the same distinctive yellow jacket that was seen on the surveillance video. Based on that evidence, Your Honor, arrest warrants were issued for Mr. Huey. While on bond for the April 2019 armed robbery, Your Honor, on October 1st, 2020, Mr. Huey went to the apartments located at 250 Fulton Street, Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, to meet with Mr. Gary Holloman. Gary Holloman, who is now deceased, told law enforcement officers on the night that he was robbed that Mr. Huey, who he knew, asked to meet with him so that Mr. Holloman could give Mr. Huey money to put on another co-conspirator to Quarius Mender's books or commissary at the Fulton County Jail. Quarius Mender, who is a co-defendant and co-conspirator, is the nephew of Gary Holloman. Mr. Mender and Mr. Huey were friends or are friends. Mr. Holloman agreed to meet with Mr. Huey at the location. While at the location, Mr. Huey, along with another individual, approached Mr. Holloman. One person had an assault rifle. They took from Mr. Holloman his car and his money. They also robbed another young lady by the name of Misha Coppage. Mr. Huey and the other unidentified individual fled the scene and left. Mr. Holloman immediately called the police. When police arrived, Mr. Holloman was able to use another cell phone to track his phone. He was able to track that phone going in the direction of I-75 South, and ultimately that phone was located on Oak Drive, which is in the Cleveland Avenue area, which is the area or territory for Young Slime Life. Also, Mr. Holloman was able to show police officers the social media pages of Mr. Huey to identify him. Initially, the police marked this case as an information, and the case was not initially investigated. However, about 1 month later, Mr. Holloman went to the police headquarters, spoke with investigators. He was able to pick Mr. Huey out of the photographic lineup. Subsequently, investigator Marissa DeMarito, who was formerly with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, found a jail call with Aquarius Mender, Mr. Mender's mother, as well as Gary Holloman discussing the robbery and Mr. Holloman discussing what occurred to him. Arrest warrants were taken out for Mr. Huey. He was initially arrested in November of 2020. During that arrest and pursuant to a search warrant, his home was searched. In that search, they found two rifle handguns. Also, they found items belonging to an individual by the name of Chandler Durham. During that search warrant, they seized Mr. Huey's phones, and pursuant to a search warrant, did a search of those phones. Upon seeing the items from Chandler Durham, Investigator Viverito checked the Atlanta Police Department's database to find if there were any police reports associated with the Chandler Durham. She found a police report from March 12, 2020. In that report, Chandler Durham reported that while he was working at a music studio, his car and additional items to include a luxury bag were stolen. After finding the report, Investigator Viverito went through the contents of Mr. Huey's phone, and she saw a few text messages of note. She saw a text conversation on March 12, 2020 between Jeffrey Williams and Mr. Huey. Jeffrey Williams told Mr. Huey that they needed to take that shit back. Mr. Huey denied involvement in taking the items and blamed it on another person. Mr. Williams then told Mr. Huey in his text message, if he doesn't take it back, he's going to die. Also found in Huey's cell phone were two incidents in which Mr. Huey and Mr. Williams were in conversation with each other regarding rival gang member Rashawn Bennett, aka Wyatt and Lucci. On January 19th, 2020, Mr. Williams sent a flyer to Huey with a performance location of Wyatt and Lucci. The text message read, handle that tonight, flat. Then Huey responded, flat. Your Honor, based on the state's understanding, flat means slime love all the time. Then on September 2nd, 2020, Mr. Huey sent a flyer to Mr. Williams with another performance location of Mr. Rashawn Bennett. Mr. Williams texted, flatty, handle, and stay very low. Huey's response was flat and for show. I've been out the way. And appreciate you for everything, my brother. Never about money with me. I'm built on loyalty. Williams' response was flat, handle that, I got you. In 2021, we were able to recover another phone from Mr. Huey after he was subsequently arrested on grand jury warrants. When we did a search warrant of that phone, there was additional communication between Mr. Williams and Mr. Huey. Mr. Huey told Mr. Williams on November 14, 2021, you know I'm ready to handle the business and go sit down if I got to about any one of y'all on my mom. This text message followed information that was provided to Investigator Viverito by Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland, during an October 2021 interview, advised Investigator Viverito that he was aware of a potential plot to harm another rival gang member, Kelvin Watts, also known as Shell Kel, at a venue, Diamonds of Atlanta on Northside Drive. Mr. Coleman advised that he was aware that Huey was to participate in this plot to harm Watts, and he attempted to tell Huey not to participate. Lastly, Your Honor, on February 18, 2022, while housed at the Fulton County Jail, along with Aquarius Mender, they were both housed in the same cell. There was a search of that dorm specifically, and inside of the cell, there was a shank and an illegal cell phone inside of their cell that they shared. And based on what we know from other evidence that we have, that cell phone was used to communicate with other YSL members. Your Honor, this is the evidence that we believe would have come out had we continued with trial. Given where we are, Your Honor, and the charges, we made a decision to resolve this case with Mr. Huey for the offer that was relayed earlier, Your Honor. I mean, I have a copy.
All right, and with regard to the offer, I just wanted to be clear that on counts 6 and 19, which are possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, while this 5-page plea agreement document reflects that those are going to be served on probation, the intention of both parties is that those 2 counts be suspended.
Yes,
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Yes, Your
and in your global sentence, it says 5 years suspended, and so I assume that that's what y'all meant by that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Matthews?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon to this honorable court, Your Honor. I'd like to begin by expressing to the court that we emphatically and categorically deny all of the recitation that's been presented by the court with respect to some of these allegations that's been laid out by the state. However, we do recognize that there are enough factual allegations in the recitation to support each and every count to which Mr. Huey is pleading this afternoon. So we do stipulate that there is enough to move forward with this plea. For those reasons, Your Honor, we are standing before this court to talk to this court about the acceptance of responsibility with respect to Mr. Marquavius Huey. Your Honor, Mr. Marquavius Huey was born in Atlanta, Georgia. He lived in the Jonesboro South community, a neighborhood project in the Atlanta community. He grew up there. He's seen a lot of things in his short 28-year life. His father was murdered in 2010, and he's been without a father for a number of years. He's been raised by his mother as a single parent. He has a number of siblings. There have been times when Mr. Huey and his mother and his family have been homeless and have lived out of a car. So he's had a very, very hard life as it relates to his upbringing. Notwithstanding that, Your Honor, he did manage to graduate from high school. Mr. Huey, Your Honor, now has 2 children. He's 28 years old. He has 2 children. He has a 5-year-old son, Your Honor. He has a 2-year-old little daughter that was born in July of 2022.
Oh, he never met her yet.
He has never met or seen his daughter.
Wow, that's crazy.
Until today, as she's here in this courtroom. He recognizes that choices puts him before this court in this case. Your Honor, we are asking this court to take into consideration that he has no prior felony convictions. I've had a very long time to get to know Mr. Huey because I've been with Mr. Huey on a regular daily basis during the week since January of 2023. I've got a chance to know him. I've got a chance to work with him on his case regularly. And he wants to, when he gets out of custody, Your Honor, he wants to do a number of things. 2 in particular. He wants to start and become affiliated with a nonprofit organization where he can be able to talk to young children, teenagers, because he was a teenager when he lost his father, and things begin to take a turn for Mr. Huey. He wants to be able to tell teenagers, young boys, young Black boys, he wants to be able to say to them, don't do what I did, and you have another way in which you can go. And he wants to be able to share his experiences in that way. I have linked Mr. Huey up with an organization called Young Generation Movement. And I've known that nonprofit organization and the founder of that organization for a long period of time. He's also present in this courtroom. And I've linked Mr. Huey up with them so that when Mr. Huey gets out of custody, he will be able to have an organization that can mentor him, that he can align himself with, where he can begin to engage himself with anti-violence nonprofit conduct and mentoring other young people. He also, in terms of being able to earn an income, because he is now, Your Honor, if this court accepts this plea, Mr. Huey will now, for the first time, be a convicted felon. He is not first offender eligible. He wants to get his commercial driver's license, Your Honor, and he wants to get a trucking company and be able to earn a living for himself, because he recognizes that it's going to be a challenge for him to be able to go out and apply for jobs and be able to get income by getting an employer to hire him. So he's going to focus and target himself to be able to fend for himself so that he can take care of his young children that he has helped to bring into this world. Your Honor, we are here before this court because it's an acceptance of responsibility. We recognize that this has been a very long, enduring trial, and we have come to a point where we have painstakingly negotiated with the state of Georgia, and we've come up with a negotiated resolution that we believe is one that is fair. We believe that is sufficient to recognize the seriousness of the charges that are before the court. And we believe it's one that will cause Mr. Huey to be able to see the light of day in a reasonable period of time. Mr. Huey has been in custody. I'd like to enter into the record, Your Honor, as Defendants Exhibit 1 for sentencing purposes, a proof of incarceration from the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Huey, through the computations of the various times when he was arrested on these charges and released, and from the time that he's currently been in custody to the present, he has approximately 4 years under his belt against that 9-year sentence, and that 9-year sentence is parolable. So we're going to enter that as an exhibit before the court.
All right, that'll be Defendants Exhibit 1 to this plea hearing. And as you know, and as I'm sure you have shared with Mr. Huey, it's ultimately the Department of Corrections that calculates the time served portion of the sentence. So it'll ultimately be up to them, but I will include that as a part of my sentencing sheet as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to represent Mr. Marquavius Huey, along with my son, Attorney Carlton Matthews Jr., who also would like to address the court at this time, Your Honor. So we're asking this court to accept the negotiation that has been represented to the court, and Mr. C.J. Matthews.
Yes, good afternoon to this honorable court.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matthews.
I've been gracious with this opportunity to represent and serve Mr. Huey. Mr. Huey is an honorable young man. Mr. Huey does not allow his mistakes to define him, but he is remorseful, Your Honor. He has learned, grown, and became a better man during this trial. Mr. Huey will have a release date, Your Honor. And I'm confident in him that he'll be a working class citizen in society when he is released. We thank this honorable court, and we respectfully ask this court to accept this plea on today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Huey, I am sure that Mr. Matthews Sr. and Mr. Matthews Jr. have, I know that they have been working with you and negotiating with the state for over, I'm sure the entire course of this trial and proceeding, but very, very hard over the last week and a couple of days to get where we are right now. And I know that given the severity and the number of charges that you were facing, that had you been convicted of all of those charges at trial, you were looking at the possibility of 3 consecutive life sentences, plus I think about 100 years after that. So the fact that the state is recommending jointly with your attorneys that your total sentence be 25 years with 9 of those to serve is It's frankly remarkable, and something that you should not take for granted or take lightly at all. These are very serious charges, and I hear what both Mr. Matthews have said about the challenges facing you in your life, and I am sorry for the loss of your father. One would hope that to have anybody that they love taken from them in a violent way like murder might have an impact upon their lives that would lead them in the right direction, but it's not particularly surprising that sometimes that's not what happens and it goes in a worse direction instead. I hope that with your age and with having really been faced with the distinct possibility of spending the entirety of the rest of your life in prison, the fact that you are getting this opportunity is not going to be wasted. I hope that you appreciate what the Matthews have done to go out of their way to line up somebody to be looking out for you when you are released from prison. I want to ask you, just like I have asked both Mr. Nichols and Mr. Ryan, is this your decision to enter this guilty plea? Because no matter what your attorney's advice is, it's ultimately up to you whether to plead guilty or continue with the trial. So is this what you want to do?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And have you had enough time to consider all of the different scenarios and to discuss everything you wanted to with your attorneys?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. I think it's very clear that this plea is to your benefit, considering the potential downside of moving forward with the continued trial. I find there to be a factual basis to this plea. I appreciate the fact that y'all have stipulated that there is a factual basis. And I find the plea to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences, and I will accept it as such. And I will sentence in accord with the negotiated recommendation. I'm not going to read everything out again. We thankfully got it in writing for the sentence sheet, but in accord with what was put on the record and what is reflected in this document. With a total sentence of 25 years to serve 9 in custody, balance of 14 years after that, 9 of those on probation and 5 suspended. And I'm going to impose the special conditions that you have already acknowledged and acknowledged that you would abide by. And, somebody with a high school diploma, which is more than a whole lot of people ever achieve. So you've already achieved and proven that you can achieve good things. And who is only 28 years old, and who can really look down and already see the light of day for a release date. You need to make sure that during your time incarcerated that you don't pull any of the kind of thing that you have been, that you actually are pleading guilty to, at least some of, by having contraband or in any other way getting in trouble, because that's not going to bode well. I am going to recommend a transition program for you. I know that there's a lot of different job training available in our correction system, so I hope that you take advantage of that. And whether it's a commercial driver's license or whether you find something else that you want to do while you're in there, be making good use of your time while you're in there and furthering yourself. And you have had a fine example next to you for the past 2 years of what somebody can do with their lives. So don't forget about that, and be the father that you need to be and that you ought to be to your very young children. They're still going to be very young when you get out. And please make sure that you abide by all your probationary conditions, because if you don't, then you're going to be back to see me. And because I recognize how much of a break you are getting right now, I'm probably not going to be as lenient if you come back before me again, because you are getting a huge opportunity to turn your life around. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So that's the sentence of the court. And I want to wish you good luck and good fortune. You can get through the next few years, and then you can have the rest of your life to do good work with.
Can you address the court?
Yes. I should have asked that. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Judge. Thank you.
I want to thank the court and thank God. And I want to apologize to my kids, my family, and everybody who done supported me in this stressful process. I plan to do my time, come back, be a better man.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
Well, there we have it.
All right, let's take a recess.
All right, y'all. Right, thank your lawyers. Don't forget about your lawyers. So this is crazy. Now we thought Woody, Lil Rod, Shannon, we probably thought they were on the tough side, but this boy here, did y'all hear the stuff that he allegedly committed? Golly. That was a laundry list of charges. God, so he was robbing men and women, setting them up. Hey, come meet me, then take them out. Not take them, rob them. God. His lawyer said he's an honorable young man. Well, let him go stay with you when he get out. Golly. And y'all know what? He looked so quiet and you know, like reserved. He always was dressed decent. Yeah, somebody said he needed that plea. Then we didn't know he did all that now. But that still doesn't mean that he did it in furtherance of YSL. It seemed like he was doing that stuff on his own. He was out there clowning. Let's say them be the ones. Golly. That was insanity. So, like you say, he got off with one, and apparently he's already parole eligible, which means he can do like an in and out. Go in, do a quick turnaround, and come right back out. Yeah, they said the Quay one's the one you definitely need to watch, because I didn't know that boy was accused of all that there. Goodness. That was a lot. So apparently his, let's see what we got. I was trying to keep a little notes as this was going on. Hilton she was quiet as what they call a church mouse. You couldn't hear any other time you're talking loud and proud. Don't whisper. Don't whisper now that you letting the community know that y'all giving somebody that has over 20 charges a plea deal where he can literally come home any day. I mean, that's not bad for him. Somebody said that's a real good deal for him. Y'all heard the judge, he was facing 3 consecutive life sentences plus 100 years. Somebody had asked earlier, I think it was Ms. Bridget, what's the difference between consecutive and concurrent? Concurrent means it's side by side. So let's say you're sentenced to 2 5-year prison terms. You got 5 years, you got 5 years. Concurrent means they're going to run side by side. So put them together and you're going to do those 5 years at the same time. Consecutive means they're stacked on top of each other, back to back. You're going to do 5 years first, and then you're going to turn around and do your second 5 years consecutive to the first 5 years. So concurrent side by side is always the better deal. You don't want to take a plea deal for one charge when you still got 5 charges pending. It's best to work them all out at the same time, get them concurrent, and be done. Because prosecutors can, once you get out of prison, they can go and say, hey, you still owe me more time for this other charge that's still pending. I couldn't get you because you was in jail already, but now I want my pound of flesh. So a good lawyer would try to work that out immediately. So it appears, even though I think the total was 25 years to serve 9 with the balance of 14 years on probation, that's not bad. Especially, he don't even have to serve the whole 9. He already has so much credit. I think they said 4 years credit where he can literally walk out now. And like the judge said, and it's similar here in Texas, the parole board answers to no one. The judge can't make them grant you parole. You know, your lawyer can't make the parole board grant you parole. It's completely up to them. And this might not go good with some of the family members. To us, we might say, okay, that's a good deal from a legal perspective. That's a good deal. Take your deal, go. He has a baby sitting out in the gallery who he's never even met yet. Until today, he probably just seen her. Now, it would have made for some good TV if the judge would have let him go over there and hold the baby. That would have been some good YouTube footage. Go over there and hold your baby for the first time. And I have seen judges do that. Go hug your baby. Right. But from the state's perspective, somebody that has 20 years, somebody you can put away, you can put them under the jailhouse for life. 3 consecutive life sentences. But he only get 9. And Fonnie Willis, when you first came out, oh, these people are so dangerous, we want maximum penalties. I mean, we don't know. We all hoping that he gets out, he does the right thing, he starts his nonprofit, he gets his CDL. Yes, those are all aspirations. You know, but did it take 20 felony charges to get those aspirations? Maybe. Hey, sitting in jail for 4 years may wake anybody up. So maybe he'll really come home this time and say, okay, this is it. Enough is enough. Even though it might be tempting, because a lot of times people see that fast money moving in Atlanta. They don't want to be hauling no loads on the road away from their family. You may say, oh, I can hit this lick. I just think I'm not going to get caught this time. You're going to get caught. Don't do it. Don't do it. With a Z. And they wait for you to mess up. The judge just said, we saw how she did Moon Toon, and I don't think that was just. This young man right here, Huey can be home before Moon Toon. And Moon Toon can't have no 20 charges pending. Somebody said, did he get hit for being Escobar behind bars? Y'all know. I don't even think that was brought up. I think I did read an article that said that he was charged with like possession of like a prohibited item in a correctional facility or something like that, similar to that. So that may not be nothing too crazy if they even, prosecute it. But yeah, if he was to take this plea deal now and that charge is still outstanding, he may have to answer for it later. But we can all agree, no matter what he has to answer for later regarding that jail incident, that has no comparison to what he just escaped. Somebody said he needs to sit down somewhere. I think he done enough. He done enough for this lifetime in the next. Have a seat. Have a seat. You say you're gonna go talk to them kids? Talk to them and talk to yourself at the same time. And a lot of times that really be the case when they go out and mentor kids and tell them, the right way. That's really therapy for them at the same time. Not only are they helping the kids, they're helping themselves as a constant reminder of why they shouldn't turn back. He literally, she said, Miss Deborah, she said he literally dodged the bullet. Literally, because of stuff he was pulling in the streets. I mean, they said they had him on footage and they have eyewitnesses, and a witness went to the police station and pointed him out. Said, hey, this was the person. And a lot of people don't go to the police. They may seek street justice. So he literally dodged a bullet. So that's, that's decent. Let me see what notes did I have? So yeah, we had 25 years, 14 probation. Oh, did y'all hear the part where they said that he pistol whipped one of the dudes with the gun? And then the stuff that he allegedly robbed, he posted it on social media, on Instagram. The police did a search warrant at his house and they found items that belong to other people. And then it was another important point that stood out to me when he allegedly robbed someone, because like we know, he may be pleading guilty, but he don't agree with all of the stuff Hilton was reading out. He just said just enough for the judge to accept my guilty plea. But y'all heard it was one part that Young Thug supposedly told him, if you don't take that stuff back, you're gonna die. Like, stop doing that. What you doing robbing people? What are you doing out here pistol whipping people? I mean, okay, y'all really read that into the record. Supposedly, Young Thug was the big boss, the one that was making them do it. But you're now saying that Young Thug was the one telling them to take it back? Because Young Thug also probably knew what comes with that. You live in that type of lifestyle, revenge could be around the corner. Hey, that don't mean that, and I'm not saying that Young Thug said, I mean, he said, take it back or you're gonna die. That don't mean Young Thug is saying he gonna kill him. Young Thug probably was saying, you better take that stuff back, man, or you gonna die. Like, them boys gonna come back for you to get their stuff. So that don't necessarily mean Young Thug said he was gonna kill him. I'm thinking Young Thug was looking out for his life. And then that's another point that it's just pointed out. And he told them boys, Woody and Moontoon, go to the police, clear your names. You did nothing wrong. So it's kind of hard that they are now saying that he is the head of the gang. I also had some notes here that he robbed. I know he already said he robbed his friends, but I noticed that a lot of these kids have tough upbringings. Parents are being killed and murdered when they children. Uh, parents in and out of jail. Parents killed by the police. I think they said he was homeless. Huey was homeless, living out of a car with his mom. So those were some of the things. Definitely wasn't organized. I mean, definitely wasn't organized. I don't. The state's case not even organized. And who else? What was the other one? Lil Rod. Lil Rod took a plea deal in his Jordans. Y'all saw that? Oh, what happened to the? Are y'all cutting off the feed? Come on, say it ain't so. Oh, come on. It looks like they cut the feed. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if Law and Crime. Yeah, who was it? It was Lil Rod with the J's on. Y'all give me a second. Let's go to Law and Crime and see what they own. Oh man, we might be done for the day. Yeah, I think we're done for today. Yeah, we're done. So I say they are done. Done, y'all. I'm just gonna let this play while I talk a little bit. But yeah, let me go because this is insanity. Let me go back to my notes real quick so I can see what kind of notes I took for Lil Rod. Lil Rod's barely 20 years old. Goodness, 20. God, were you 5 when you was out here? Like what? And y'all know earlier today, they supposedly he had a toothache. He had to go to the dentist and he couldn't be in court. But all of a sudden, with this time served plea deal came through, hey, tooth stop hurting. Come on here. Ain't no toothache. What toothache? Get me back to the courthouse. And I wonder how that family feels because supposedly he, took somebody out. He has a murder charge, and now he gets time served. I understand he has an appeal in the works, but I'm sure I don't get how this helps his appeal. Well, he didn't acknowledge that he committed the murder itself. He just pled guilty to the RICO, violating the RICO Act, not the murder. And y'all heard what his attorney said? She took a political jab at Fonda. She said instead of the money that was wasted on this trial, money should be going towards the youth to help the youth before they even get into the court process, before they get into what we call the system. I'm going to drop the link if anybody want to come up, have anything to say. If not, yeah, she took a shot. That was a shot directly at Fonnie. She said the money that you're spending on this trial, spend it on helping the youth, which is crazy because apparently Fonnie had got a grant from the federal government to go towards the youth, and then Fonnie spent the money on something else. And then when the whistleblower called her out on it, she fired the poor girl. She fired the girl. The money they were supposed to use on the youth, Fonnie used it on something else. And this is according to one of the prosecutors that worked there with Fonnie. And when Fonnie was informed by the prosecutor, you can't do that, she fired her. You didn't miss the whole day. You missed 2 pleas. You missed 2 pleas of Lil Rod and Huey. And from what we gathered, at first I was like, okay, 25 years for Huey, 9 to serve in prison, 14 on probation. I was like, okay, that's kind of a lot. But then when I heard he has 4 years credit and he's already parole eligible, I'm like, oh, okay, he can go home like immediately. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a bad deal at all. And then Lil Rod, of course, time served. So, and he took that plea in his best interest. And we remember Lil Rod, he has a good chance to win on appeal. We remember that girl got on the stand in this trial. She said that she witnessed the shooting, and then they kidnapped her, took her to a basement, locked her in a basement. Then the mother of one of the kidnappers opened the basement, saw her in there, locked her back in the basement. Then she found a phone, and instead of calling the police, she called her mom. Her mom didn't answer. She called her grandma. And then by the time she called her mom again, the police was already at her house. I mean, that was a crazy story, a wild story. So, you know, he might have a decent chance at appeal. And who knows, maybe the state would turn around and instead of retrying the case, if he wins that appeal, they may give him another plea offer instead of taking it to trial again, just canceling it out. Yeah, fully charged cell phone, no password, just ready to go, charged up. Yeah. Like, oh, the phone. Wouldn't you know it? But it was crazy that the police were already at her house. Like, how do police know the shooting just happened? So how do police know to go to your house? The girl that was locked in the basement, why were the police already at your house? Not at the actual alleged shooter's houses. Told her that he slept up. You just missed 2 pleas, nothing major. Nothing major. Somebody said he might be a CI. Who knows? Nowadays, you really just don't know. But they definitely didn't put that camera on her lying tell. Let me tell her she lying. Her story didn't make sense. Allegedly. Oh, y'all, let's finish up this video right quick. That's what I was gonna do. Let's finish this up.
He was a loving son.
And this the video of Harvey getting into it the other day. I think it was the same day he took the plea. Boy, Harvey don't play.
Jacqueline Meade misses her 27-year-old son, Abari Meade.
Tremendously. I cried every single day.
Now she wants the former Jonesboro police officer accused of killing her son to take responsibility for his actions.
I want justice. I want him to serve time. What he's trying not to do.
The family was not happy. Godric Newsom's attorney exploded in court when we began recording his client.
Sorry, the judge has not approved it.
You can't film. We have a signed rule, Bruce. You never served me. You never serve anybody. Bruce Harvey continued to insist we didn't have permission. The judge came out and told him she, in fact, gave us permission to record.
This is my second time, and he's always trying to shield him.
Police say Meade was the victim of a hit and run on the Midtown Connector back in May. As he waited for police, officers say Newsom swerved across several lanes and slammed into Meade, killing him. Detectives say Newsom got out and left the scene. He turned himself in 10 days later.
We would enter a plea, obviously, of not guilty.
Newsom entered a not guilty plea after he was indicted. Meade's mother wishes he would accept responsibility.
I wanted to pay for what he did and acknowledge what he did and be accountable for what he did.
And Newsom faces first-degree vehicular homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless driving. He is out on bond. We're live in downtown Atlanta. Tom Jones, Channel 2 Action News.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was insanity, they say. So apparently Harvey represents the guy who we just seen, and the guy was a former police officer. And the victim, someone hit his car. It was a hit and run. So he sat there and waited for the police to come to report his hit and run. And then this officer came and slammed into the back of him and killed him. So he was actually hit twice. And the police officer disappeared for 10 days before he turned himself in, which is crazy. And Harvey said, "You can't film my client." Harvey said, "You didn't show me that Rule 22. You didn't serve me." That was wild. Because normally a Rule 22 is between the media and the court. I never heard of it being served on the attorneys. I mean, it's for the court to give access to the media to bring their phones and cameras in. But yeah, that's crazy. But you know, who knows? It could have been performative. He's showing his client, he's fighting for him. And anytime a police officer is involved, it's always like a high profile case. I remember this one officer I represented, and the newspaper, like once everything was over with, the newspaper contacted me and said, how did this happen? Is the case over? He didn't go to jail. And I was like, I'm glad y'all called me this time, because the last time the lies y'all told, I'm glad y'all actually reached out this time. But it does happen, and it could get tense. I remember the court was packed. But I'm glad that my client was able to fight. And I think he's an officer again. Yeah. If he went back to the profession, boy, I would have just left. I would have left it where it was at. They said Harvey was about that life. Harvey was about that life. Oh man, y'all. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna they say tomorrow at 9:30 we may have more updates. Harvey has a whole law named after him. Oh, Harvey's rule, the rule that they came up with. He taking his plea in some J's. Come on. Oh, she said, "Hey, normally I'm on the rewatch crew. Just stopped in to say thank you to whomever gifted me a membership upon yesterday." That was Miss Lil Rod. She was kind enough to give 10 memberships, and she gifted so many memberships in the past. So thank you for stopping in to tell her thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Hey, can you tell your mom? We got a daughter in the chat today. Can you tell your mom that we got another big thank you for her from Miss Bass herself? It's really kind. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. How are we going to explain to the jury when they come back that half the room is gone? It was 6 people. I guess we could tell them we played musical chairs. We played musical chairs, and 3 of the people didn't have chairs to sit in when the music stopped. So they got to go. They got to go. They got to go. So we just got 3 people left. Who knows? Do we have another round of musical chairs tomorrow? Do we have another round? Hopefully they let Thug go and ain't no need for no jury. And that will really put some pressure upon who's left? Diamante, Kendrick, and what's Matt Shaw's client name? Shannon Stillwell, Shannon Jackson. That will put some pressure on them boys. Because if Young Thug takes a deal tomorrow, and let's be clear, the public really cares about Young Thug. Obviously, cameras wouldn't be in the courtroom if Young Thug wasn't there. Let's just be for real. So if Young Thug leave, maybe the cameras will leave. I'm not sure. And now those 2 boys are left by themselves. Things could get tricky. Things could get really tricky. So we got Doug Weinstein, Max Shard, and Brian Steele, Keith Adams. Those attorneys will still be in the courtroom with their clients. Tia said that Thugger Daily, shout out to Thugger Daily, posted he heard Thug was close to making a deal. And this is, of course, an unconfirmed rumor. Because a lot of times when you're trying to negotiate, you don't want the facts to get out. Because you don't want the other side to know your game plan, your strategy. And obviously, if you talk to the public, the other side, we know they be in the bushes. We know the prosecutors be listening to YouTube. Yeah, they may be sitting in the chat right now, quiet as it's kept. So yeah. So it's best to keep your cards close. Don't show your hand. And throw it off that Thug would never. Tia said Thug's record executives was in the meeting with Steele and the state. Now that's interesting because we were trying to figure out if Young Thug was to take a plea deal, a felony conviction, what would happen with his music career as far as travel, as far as being around firearms, being around other convicted felons. I mean, if he want to go perform with this other rapper or artist and they have a criminal conviction, could he do that? If he want to go out of country to Canada, could he do that? Would he only be restricted to the local area until his probation is done? I mean, obviously that's a bad deal because he won't be able to feed his family. You can't have 100 concerts back to back in the same city he live in. I mean, you're gonna wear him out. Miss Nola Blinn said, "Yep, they lurking. They lurking." Oh, she said the jury here. Hey, to the jury. If y'all here, you better not identify yourself. She said he can do a hologram like Chief Keef and still get paid. Yeah. What's going on, Keys Mobile? Can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Fine, just soaking in all this stuff that happened in the last couple of days?
Yes. You had told me, I saw in your comment this morning that you had one of my email address. You were going to send something. I don't know if you had a chance to do that or not.
Yeah, I wanted your email though.
Oh, okay, I got you. And if that comment's not there, it's also in the description. But yeah, so what do you think so far about these two plea deals that happened today?
I'm in shock.
Oh, about which part? Thank you, Ms. Deborah.
Well, just the plea deals, because I could be, because I'm not a lawyer, but so don't they still have to rule on the mistrial?
Well, the thing is, the original objection and the original reason that the mistrial was called for by the attorneys was that the witness, I believe it's Woonie Lee. If I'm saying it wrong, somebody correct me. I believe he said free Quay. And now both of the Quays, the one that just took a plea deal, Huey, he has Quay in his name. And then the one that took a plea deal yesterday, he has Quay in his name. Both of the Quays are now gone. So when you say free Quay, the only people that the jury could have assumed the witness was talking about was one of those two boys. And now that both of them are gone, the free Quay issue might be, moot, meaning it may not even be relevant anymore. But we do know that they went by what's called the Harvey rule. If a mistrial is called for by one defendant, then the other defendants could join in.
So that was my next question. Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they can make the argument that even though the Quays are no longer here, the witness implied that a co-defendant is in custody, and a jury can reasonably assume that if a co-defendant is in custody with no bond, then the other remaining co-defendants are in jail as well. So they still can say we still move for a mistrial on that basis. Will they do it is another story. Do they want to start over, or do they want to just press forward and continue? That's going to be the question of the day. And also, I think they should file a motion to recuse the judge, because her comments were very inappropriate when she said that I'm trying to fix your sloppiness. When she told that to the state of Georgia, I'm trying to fix it, Hilton. I think that that's grounds to have her step aside, because obviously you can't be fair if you're telling the other team that you're trying to help them.
And that's where, those are the two, everything else, I get it, everybody else, or whatever, but I'm just it's two, they still, from my understanding, they still would have to rule on the mistrial. And I'm just wondering, is Thug, because he's not charged with murder, so would it be feasible, would it benefit him really, to take a plea?
I mean, I'm sure the jury will hear all the fuss. They're going to hear the buzz. I mean, not officially, of course, but they're going to hear the buzz. Plea deals have been accepted. 3 plea deals have been accepted. And the state is accusing Young Thug of being the ringleader. And now 3 of the people who you supposedly are in charge of, your foot soldiers, so to speak, now have accepted guilty pleas. So now, do a jury come back and say, okay, 3 of your people pled guilty, and at first they were in trial asserting their innocence, and now all of a sudden they pled guilty, and you're the supposed ringleader. So could it have a negative impact on him, an unofficial impact? Look at Shannon Stillwell, Shannon Jackson. They say he riding strong. He's not taking a plea deal.
Right, because he did a lot and stuff, and as well as some of the others. Nichols, I think, was the least person that really did anything, sold some drugs, but I feel like Lil Rod and Huey and Shannon, even Yak maybe a little bit, but they were into, they were getting in trouble, but basically. But I just think so I get it why they took pleas, because they had other stuff going on. So just to wrap all this up and get what you can, I get it for them. But just as far as Thug, like, he don't have a record, he's not charged with the murder, if I'm not mistaken. So I just think, like, what is he thinking? What would be his options? And what would they offer him? Because they said I think Thugger Daily had posted that there's still discussions as far as with Young Thug. So I'm just curious, like, what could they offer him? Like you said, they want to accuse him of the ringleader.
Sorry about that. You're right. It's interesting. What could they offer him that's acceptable to him? And the more people that fall off this indictment, it seems as if the deals get less favorable. I mean, who knows though? I don't think they're turning on him, Law Malcolm, but I do think it could have a bad visual impact on the jury. Some people are saying that Weinstein said on YouTube that the Harvey rule is in effect and he will be asking for a mistrial with prejudice, even though the judge already said that she's not going to grant a mistrial with prejudice. There's nothing wrong with asking again, Doug Weinstein. So that would be interesting to see how the judge will approach that. But now that she's, they're taking pleas, and when she accepts the plea, she say, after listening to the trial, I do find that one or more factual basis for this plea to be accepted did happen. When you say stuff like that, I know she has to say it to accept the plea, but it just seems really weird considering that you still have remaining defendants. If you didn't have remaining defendants, then she could say that. But since you have remaining defendants, I think she should have worded it different, where she still could accept the plea, but not taint the jury by saying that she thinks that the RICO exists. General counsel, I don't know if he's still here, he took off. He said divide and conquer with pleas. Maybe that's the strategy. Divide and conquer, cut down some of the work, and perhaps you get rid of some of the other people, make them plead guilty, and then you can concentrate on the 3 that's remaining. But
when it comes to that, though, I think it was more based on the state had messed up and they had no other choice but to offer a plea. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'll listen to you to get the understanding, but just it looks to me that way is why they, like, even with Huey's plea, what they offer him, he was looking at 3, was it 3 life sentences plus 100 years or something? I don't know, but however, for what he got was like, a miracle. But I think just outside looking in, I think they offered that because they made a major mistake with this witness, and they've made accumulative mistakes. Like from day one, they asked for a mistrial, like what, 3 times in that first opening statement?
Yes, I believe so. And I think that they really wanted to get the Quays out the way, because that was the word, free Quay. So I think they really was trying to make sure that Huey take his plea deal and Nichols from yesterday take his plea deal, because those are the 2 Quays. So I think they really tried to work to get them out the way to prevent the mistrial from going forward. But I do find it crazy that 2 words, free Quay, potentially change the trajectory of these whole boys' lives, both of them. Because without that free Quay, you wouldn't have a witness or defendant going home, Nichols going home, and before probably next Christmas, and then this one, Huey might be going home right away within probably the next couple of months. So I think that, and then you got Lil Rod, time served. So those two words were powerful. And I understand it might have been in conjunction with all of the other mistakes that the state has been making. It probably wasn't just that, free Quay. It probably was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But I still think it was powerful for those two words to really change the course of at least 3 people's lives so far. But on the flip side of that, it may also change the course of the outcome of this trial. And we don't know which way that may go. Right, the judge is not.
Yeah, because I seen the wife of Nichols on last night on one of these platforms, but she said she's gonna do a book.
Oh, she gonna write a book?
Yeah, she said her and Nichols are going be doing a book. So I'm gonna get back to work. I don't get off till 7. But I'm gonna be in the bushes watching you. I just wanted to hear your opinion on which so far was, and I'm gonna get the email.
Okay. Yeah, no hurt. No hurt. But thanks a lot for joining. I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, no worries. We appreciate you.
Okay, all right. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. I'll drop the link one more time if anyone want to come up. If not, we can call it a day and be rested for tomorrow. And tomorrow they say 9:30, but y'all know how that go. They ain't not gonna fool me and have me sitting here all day waiting. I already know that game. So y'all see how I come on right before it's confirmed. I know some YouTubers, they've been going at it. Somebody said, did you see Bruce Harvey in Nicole Westmoreland interview at their office? I think Miss Bridges sent that to me. I have to go and see if the sound quality was good enough for us all to hear. If it is, I'll play some of it. But I know they're excited. My understanding, they were celebrating in the hallways. Sometimes you can't help but celebrate because trials are so long. I've had a client that went to trial twice, 2 separate trials a year apart, and he was facing life in prison for both of them. I think the state was mad that we beat him the first time, so they went back and brought up some old stuff and tried him again. He was facing life in prison both times, and we won both of them. And he couldn't help but celebrate. And it was because he hired me because of his wife. And I found that interesting because Nichols' wife, she also said that she pushed her husband to do the right thing. And I'm glad that my former client, trusted me. And it was his wife that said, no, hire him. And now they're engaged and everything. It was just so good seeing them outside the courthouse. And I looked at the wife and I said, all this happened because of you. So it was good. Nichols' wife told him, hey, it's time to come home. You don't have to snitch on no one. You don't have to tell on no one. Just come home. Let me see what they say. Just to you, salute. Make it make sense to me. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate the subscription. G63, the reason I don't think he should take a plea, they don't have nothing on him. They don't have nothing on him, just his whole team pleading guilty. I got you. You never know. You never know. Bruce cried again. we gotta watch a little bit of it, all because of her. Let's see. Thug won't plead, especially if he didn't do anything but wear dresses, etc. Yeah, I think that was part of his. He's an artist, and I think that was part of his whole deal. So it doesn't appear, especially from the words of Hilton today, that he was ordering anything. If anything, he was telling the boys, "Take that back. The boy you just robbed, you better take it back now." So it appears to me that he was actually trying to do the right thing. Let's see what else. Hi, I've been watching you for a while now, and I just have to say something. I think the reason why all this happened because the judge stated that she can do without prejudice and without prejudice. Huh. I think the reason why all this happened because the judge stated that she can do without prejudice and without prejudice. If you can clarify what you meant by that, but obviously without prejudice, meaning that the state can try again. And we got to remember, a lot of times that's not for the state. A lot of times that's for the victims. And the judge oftentimes don't want to punish the family of the victims because the state is sloppy. Now, because the state is sloppy, if she grant a mistrial with prejudice, that means the case can never be brought again. And now you have all these grieving families sitting in the gallery. They all crying, wiping away tears, emotional. And they would never get justice if the judge say with prejudice and shut them out. So I think she left the door open and put the ball back into the state's court. And Hilton, she's trying to read all these factual acknowledgments, I guess to try to give some type of closure to the families. Like, I found it strange on Nichols. They dropped the murder charge when Nichols pled yesterday. So they said, okay, you have nothing to do with the murder. We're dropping the murder charge. But she read into the record, Hilton read into the record the factual acknowledgments of the murder, which was crazy to me. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's just trying to, help the family. Like, hey, this is for you. We're going to read it into the record so you get some type of justice. Your son's name hasn't been forgotten. We're reading it now. So consider this 7 year that Nichols got as justice. Yeah, I don't think the family is happy. Matter of fact, I believe the family has expressed, the aunt of the decedent, the person that was killed, the aunt said the family is not happy with the prosecution. I think she said that both Hilton and Love are liars. It's not me saying it. This is the family of a victim that's saying it. Make it make sense to me. Yeah, that was strange when she read that. Man, the chat was going crazy. Everybody was like, why is Nichols agreeing to that? I can't trust him. He's snitching. He's ratting. They're like, no, you have to give the judge enough as prosecutor for her to accept the plea deal. You can't just say, okay, judge, accept the plea deal. You got to give her a reason why she should accept the plea deal. And the state just read off what they think they can prove to a jury if the case continued with trial. And then you heard Harvey say, we don't agree with none of that Hilton just read. We're pleading guilty only because of some drug charges. That's the only thing he violated the RICO Act with. Nothing violent, no murders, nothing like that. So I'm glad that he clarified that. And I think the wife of Nichols, she also said that her husband wanted his co-defendants in court with him because he did not want them to think that he was doing a plea deal behind their backs. So I think it was good that the co-defendants were in court. I think it served two purposes. It showed that he wasn't stabbing y'all in the back and taking a sneaky plea deal and he's snitching on y'all. And it showed the others that, hey, y'all can plead just like I pled without even ever telling. Have y'all lawyer do what my lawyer did, and y'all can take the same plea deal. And look, today we had 2 more plea deals. They probably saw Nichols get up there, said his name, his high school education level, and when he did his time, don't have to come back, don't have to testify, no special conditions on probation. I believe even Moontum said that when he was on probation, they don't even have to go down there anymore, just a phone call. Just check in. Are you good? And a lot of that happened after COVID. A lot of probation officers now, they just call in. Okay, let's see. Without prejudice, going to bring everything back and start over. With prejudice, can't bring back. I'm in New York, so maybe it's different. Yeah, no, you got it exactly right. Without prejudice, meaning you can come back and start over. With prejudice, I'm shutting you out, just like in the Alec Baldwin case. We know Alec Baldwin allegedly shot and killed one of his crew members, and the prosecutors were hiding evidence. What the judge do? She threw it out. They didn't get a million chances like Hilton and Love got. She threw it out. With prejudice, she said, not only am I throwing it out, you can never bring this case against Alec Baldwin ever again in life. Now, who suffers because of that? The prosecutors, they go get another job. It's the family sitting out in the gallery that would never get justice, but, you know, that was a tough one anyway, because of the facts of that case. Was Alec Baldwin really responsible? Did he really think someone was going to put real bullets in a prop gun? I mean, that was a crazy case anyway. And they already got the girl, the actual girl who set everything up. She's already in prison now, so, you know, maybe that's the justice. Queen T said, I don't think the state wanted the judge to accept Huey's. Hey, that's the more she talked, I'm like, okay, woman, that's enough. Because a lot of times I go to court, you know, me and the prosecutor were on the same page, and we just give the judge just enough to just accept it. Don't be asking no questions. Don't blow up the plea by going too far into details. Just accept it. Okay. Right. Noah Lewis said Alec had one Brady violation. YSL has had two. YSL, it was so bad where Hilton and Love was ordered to take a Brady class. And these are seasoned prosecutors. They have to go take a class about withholding evidence that you're supposed to turn over to the other side. You can't withhold exculpatory evidence that could possibly set the defendants free, or evidence that's in their favor. You can't hide it. You can't hide the ball. And apparently in Alec Baldwin case, they hid some bullets. Somebody took some bullets to the police station, said, hey, these bullets have something to do with the case. And they hid that in a different case file, and they never turned that over to Alec Baldwin's team. And who knows? I don't know what the bullets were. Maybe the bullets were the actual fake bullets that were supposed to go in a gun, and not the real bullets that was actually put in the gun. That's a big deal. That's something that the jury needs to know. You can't just hide a box of bullets and act like they don't exist. I mean, I don't know what the prosecutors were thinking with that. Make it make sense to me. Yo, I thought the same. The state in the YSL trial was worse than the Alec Baldwin case, and it's still going definitely strange. Yeah, this judge, as well as Glanville, they have bent over backwards to keep this trial going. Any other judge worth their salt would have been through this case out. But they literally bent over backwards. And I watched the Olympics. And I don't even think Simone Biles bent over this far backwards. Or any other athletes. Baby, this judge bent over backwards, breaking the record not to throw this case out. He said the prosecution getting justice. That's what you call it. If you calling time served for an alleged murder justice, and if you call essentially time served for Huey, I mean, that boy had 20 charges. Aggravated assault, robbery, aggravated robbery, knocking people in the head, pistol whipping. I'm not saying it's true, but he can likely get out on parole any day. If you call that justice, I guess they did get justice. They had to watch a video. I've seen a video that was so funny about the class that they took. It was I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. I gotta play that video. Where that video was at? Somebody did like a comedy. It was a small little clip, a comedy video of the class that they took. And that was just too crazy to me. I watched that trial also. They make the prosecutor take the stand and testify. Somebody said, did you find the video? Oh, the video of Harvey? Whitaker wants to. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. They want to hear the interview. Let me go pull it up. Let me pull it up. Kyle Stevens said, yeah, not justice. They had to give them those deals to avoid that mistrial, which is crazy. Think about it. The prosecutors had to give out crazy deals. To us, you know, excellent deals. But for the prosecutors, that's a big L. Imagine being a member of the community or somebody that was actually knocked in the head with a gun, robbed, beat down, stole all your stuff, your money, and they come back and say, he going home. And you sitting there with a big knot on your head, probably traumatized for life. Not only did he do it to you, but perhaps 19 other victims, allegedly. It's 20 counts, I don't know. Sheesh. And you get time served? Yeah. Let me pull up this video right quick, y'all. They say rules. All right, y'all. Let's listen to the attorney from the plea deal from Nichols. We might as well just pull that up. Thank you to Tia Bridget. I thought I heard crying in the courtroom. I believe they said it was some children there, maybe Huey's children. I don't know if Lil Rod old enough to have many kids. He only 20, and he been in jail for a while now. Let's see, y'all. Let's see. Where is it at? Let's see if we can get this thing to play.
Insofar as it resolves all of these charges against Mr. Nichols, I think it is an exceptional result. It's an exceptional result for the following reasons. No murder charges, no gang charges, no factual acknowledgments required by the state, no other charges except for one conspiracy charge that was factually underpinned by convictions that Mr. Nichols already had from almost 6 years ago. So that result, I think, is an excellent result for him and resolves all of these cases. You know, the RICO charge in this case was a RICO conspiracy. And underlying the RICO conspiracy were all the 100+ factual predicates, some of which have already been resolved by and against Mr. Nichols. Some of them we hadn't even gotten to. And I don't believe the state would have been able to prove Mr. Nichols' responsibility for those predicate acts. So this was, yeah, we were in a conspiracy. Yeah, we acknowledge that factually the underpinnings of the RICO conspiracy are satisfied by what already was presented and what he had already pled to, but nothing else. No, as we said, no murder, no guns, nothing else. No gang charges. Listen, there is no gang charge. He did not acknowledge being in a gang, being responsible for being in a gang, committing any kind of violent act on behalf of any gang. Yes, I was in a overall conspiracy. Thank you, see you later.
You were behind kind of the original mistrial motion that led to this flurry of negotiations.
Yes.
Just walk us through kind of how it went from that to taking a plea.
Well, the state made several, errors in the case into which we had to ask for a mistrial. So we were satisfied that the judge, she heard us and our motion and asking for a mistrial, and that, errors cannot be repeatedly occur in front of the jury and inadmissible evidence being heard by the jury. And so we're glad that the judge, heard our motion and said, do you want a mistrial, and will you take a mistrial without prejudice? And, and then we went into negotiation, and we're pleased with the outcome of our negotiation.
How relieved are you after, being part of Georgia's longest trial that, your portion of this at least is over?
Well, now we can wear B suits and A suits. No. How relieved are we? Once you're in that routine and once you're there with your fellow lawyers and your fellow co-defendants, that it's almost ritualistic. We were there every day. We were working every day. So, we're relieved because the result for Mr. Nichols was the right result. Now we have to deal with the rest of the world. They can release us from our kidnapped status.
You gonna miss courtroom one thing?
Yes and no. Yes, clearly. But I'm glad that all of us could work that resolution. And that resolution, again, from Mr. Nichols was no gang, no factual acknowledgments, no murders. So he can go on about his life and get out. He's a young man. He's a nice looking man. He's a smart guy. So I'm hoping that this projects him forward and doesn't leave him in the lurch.
I'm gonna say you're almost, sorry.
I saw that you choked up during.
I did.
And this had to be a difficult decision because during this time, he's become family in a sense.
Yeah, very much so.
How difficult was it actually deciding not to go with the mistrial without prejudice versus go ahead and make?
Yeah, but that allows him to do it again.
Yeah.
That allows the case to continue and doesn't resolve the case and doesn't give any sense of finality. Without the factual acknowledgments, without agreeing to the state's factual contentions, this ends the case. It's over. A mistrial without prejudice means it's subject to recurring. And there's a whole other group of severed defendants that are still out there and awaiting resolution. And I think we're in the best posture at this particular point with this particular judge in the 2 years that we've been litigating this and everything that has happened to strike at this particular point.
You were talking about, you guys do a word of the day.
Yes.
Can you talk about that and kind of what's next for him once he gets out?
Well, can I tell you that he is a very receptive young man. He's like a sponge. He doesn't have a formal education. He doesn't have a consolidated family upbringing. But he's very curious and he's very smart. So we would use a word or get a word a day, and we would define it. We would use it in a sentence. And, you can see his intellectual curiosity. He's a really good kid and a smart kid. And I want him, truly.
It's true. I mean, we've spent
Wow.
2 years, over 2 years with our client. And like Attorney Hard was saying, he's intelligent and he's so much more than unfortunately what comes out during a trial process. And, the word a day, he asked the word a day. Myself, Attorney Harvey, we go back and forth of picking a word, and we teach him the pronunciation of the word. And then 2-3 weeks later, he'll use a word that he learned, 2-3 weeks before, and he keeps it going. And so he's a great individual, and we're glad that this is over for him. It's been 2 years too long.
But he's also developed a pretty sophisticated understanding of the system. I mean, he can look at me when something happens and go, hey, this is what happened. This is what should happen. I know what is going on here. So he, like I'm saying, he's a sponge. I mean, let's bring these kids forward.
This trial has been a learning process for all involved in YouTube and media and also in the prosecution. What are you hoping to come from all of the things that you've shared and done with?
Well, let me just shout out to the YouTube folks. I mean, we all watched it. We all watched the comment.
Shout out to the YouTubers. Let's go. Let's go.
Commentary, and we love the commentary, and we point out the commentary. So we've had a good time seeing the reaction to what has happened in the courtroom. And, people have an idea of what happens in court, that it's always, inflammatory, it's flamboyant, it's this, and something always interesting has happened, except for the days and days we have with phone records. And so somebody up there saying, well, this is the phone number that's associated with, Miss Johnson. And really, what was the name of that? What's the address? And let's write that down. I mean, it's just drudgery. It is, section after section after section. And I know it's all part of a puzzle, but I hope that everybody understands that it is not all excitement.
Thank you.
And that you've seen how deeply everybody has dug into this case and all of the things that have been litigated week after week and day after day after day. So we appreciate what everybody says.
Any message to the rest of the defense attorneys still fighting for their clients in this case?
Good luck.
They gonna stop.
Do you think this plea is going to affect any of the rest of the case moving forward?
Well, something, I think we were lucky. Not lucky. Let me try to find a better word. We were able to resolve our case in a different fashion than what I understand has been put on the table for others. When I say we resolved it to a single count, we resolved it without those other acts, we resolved it without any factual acknowledgments. If you have been following this closely, every other person in this case who has pled has signed a plea agreement with factual acknowledgments. YSL, I'm a member, it's a gang, I did this, I would do this on behalf of the gang, and I did this, and I agree that that's what the situation is. We were able to resolve our case without any of that, and that's the distinction. And I certainly hope, I wish the very best for every one of those young men, and including, Jeffrey Williams, who's been sitting in jail for years now. And he is an incredible talent and a wonderful young man. So I wish the best for all of them.
And last question from me. Do you know the 7 years? I know there's like a complicated formula of how early in theory he could
Well,
get
it's not
out.
that complicated.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't take Einstein. Remember, E equals MC squared. Do we know that? We do know that. Do I know? No, I don't. If I knew, are you going to ask how much
I was going to say, how much time does he have left of the 7 years?
But he's got what? 24 plus 5, 29 months in. There are parole guidelines for his offense, but at the end of the day, it's up to the Georgia Board of Pardons and Paroles. And if I knew that, I would be the richest lawyer in the world, and I would be on a beach with a cocktail in one of those little umbrellas, and my pinky would be up. Okay.
Apparently, the wife of Nichols, his client, paid them over $100,000, so he still should be at somebody's beach. Just saying.
I think it was kind of a cliffhanger if he had any other outstanding issues that would affect any of his probation going forward. To your knowledge, well, I know that you can't go in depth, but is there anything that will affect his?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. There is nothing related to this case. There is nothing that he has in his past that is affecting his ability to move forward and appropriately serve this case, this sentence. Okay, his kids and his wife look forward to getting him back home.
Not the nose wipe. This is insanity. He said with his pinky up. Salute to the military veterans. If y'all shout out to Make It Make Sense to Me. All right. Y'all, this has been crazy. And at the end of the day, oh yeah, no problem, Queen T. At the end of the day, Harvey, YSL Ponytail, he has no allegiance to the other attorneys and the other remaining defendants. His only allegiance is to his client. And we can tell from the beginning that Bruce Harvey always wanted his client severed. He wanted his client away from the remaining group. He wanted his client to come out from amongst them and be separate. He didn't want his client's name to be tainted with the other co-defendants. And sometimes he made objections. And he flat out said, I remember Max Shard, he said it may apply to Max Shard's client, you know, but it don't apply to my client, to Mr. Nichols. So he was all about Nichols the entire time. But believe that he found a way to accept a plea deal also without his client directly implicating the remaining co-defendants, because that would have been just crazy for his client to take a plea deal and tell on the other co-defendants after he been in a fight with them for 3-4 years. We got some military people here. Imagine going to war. You're fighting in a war and you're fighting on the same side for 3 years, 4 years. And all of a sudden one day, you go join the other side of the war and fight against your own brothers and sisters, your own family. That'd be crazy work. Crazy work. I don't care what they're offering you. That would be some crazy work. So I think that he was able to take a deal that really didn't hurt anybody. He was able to get his client out. His client can go home with his family, and the remaining co-defendants can still continue on with the trial or take plea deals of their own. Yeah, that'd be some, yeah. Yeah, if y'all don't mind clicking the like button, Definitely appreciate y'all, and thank you to the new subscribers that I see popping up on here. Let's see. Okay, okay. Yeah, my email is in the description. Fit Lawyer ATL. Shout out to the Fit Lawyer of ATL. Had Nichols' wife on their channel last night, her first live. It was great. And I saw some sound bites, you know, people take clips. So a lot of the stuff the wife was saying, I think was good that she got her husband to make a deal because she didn't want him to take a bad deal, right? She didn't want him to take a deal where he could come home today, but in order to come home today, he would have to snitch on, you know, his family. Because when you come home, are you really coming home as the same person that left? You're not going to come home celebrated if people see you on the stand snitching and telling. But now he can come home to a welcome back party with his head held high. Can't get my words. I've been talking for then at 3 hours. He can come home with his head held high. You didn't tell. You stood tall. You did your time. You came home. But the real test for most people that go through this process is staying home. You home now. You got to stay home. They say it's tomorrow, I believe, at 9:30, but please do not hold your breath. Is it possible they took plea deals because they could no longer afford their attorneys? No, I don't think that's the case. Even though they did say that Huey was moving that weight up in there allegedly with his mom and sister, and it's all allegedly. This stuff's still pending, so we can't say they're guilty of it. So I wonder if he was using some of that $17,000 or however much it was to pay his lawyers. I don't know, but I'm sure they probably all paid up because I believe the wife said that the wife of Nichols, the attorney we just saw, I believe she said that her attorney Harvey was paid in full. He's paid up. He already got all his money. Hold on, let me see something. Yeah, not moving weight. Don't give me the line. I don't know if that man was moving weight or not. Do not get that line started. But that's what they said now. I mean, they were arrested for it. They were. Did I make it? They were arrested, right? And as a matter of fact, the deputy was also arrested. Now, I don't know the classification of that charge. Is that still pending? Are they going to drop it? Who knows? But, you know, even if they don't drop it, the worst is behind him because he had a lot of stuff he was accused of. I'm not saying he did all that stuff, but those were some crazy allegations. I didn't know that this young man did all that stuff. He had all that carrying on going on. Oh man, y'all. Let me we about to get out of here. But I did want to share that training video. I believe it was Flesh of the Gods. Shout out to him or her, their channel. And it was a training video, a Brady training video. Hilton and Love, the training video they had to go through, and it was a comedy video, not the actual real video, but it was funny. Somebody said, wasn't the mom in on it? So y'all know what? I don't know. We gonna have to call and ask her. Y'all think we can get? I know somebody had asked, can we get more people over here? I know we talked to I remember when we first started, we talked to Kayla first, and then after that, we were able to talk to Moontoon a couple of weeks ago. But I do plan on having more people come if they are willing to come. Some of them don't want to come. Some of them don't want to get in front of the camera. Some of y'all don't even want to click the link. Y'all scared to come up y'all own selves. They don't want to be sitting on nobody's YouTube channel. And we also had, I can't forget, Lil D's sister. We had Lil D's sister come on, as well as Taylor. Shout out to Taylor Umbridge. And I believe she's on TikTok. Shout out to her and her channel. She's been killing it over there. All right, y'all. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna play this video real quick. Make sense that I haven't seen. I'm gonna play this real comedy video real quick. It's a few minutes long, and then we're gonna get out of here so we can be rested up and charged up for tomorrow. Let me play it right quick. Let's see. And shout out to Flesh of the Gods. I'm gonna play it and we're gonna get out of here. And thank y'all to the people that got to go, the ones that can't stick around. If y'all don't mind hitting the like button on your way out, definitely appreciate it. All right, let me play this. Wait, not the Rice Street Training Center. Y'all know Rice Street is a jail. That's crazy. Let's go. Where is it? Oh, here you go.
Hey, excuse me, Hilton. They told me to let you know they're ready to get started.
Okay, just a minute. I'm just putting my face on.
Man, they wrong. They wrong for that.
Welcome, Chief, Deputy, Assistant, District, Special Ops, Attorney, Fumble Lips, Slip-On Hilton. And welcome, Chief, Double Deputy, Assistant, District, Special Ops, Attorney, Lion-Ass Lawyer, in a Dreamland, No Love. I'm Phony. This is Fonny, Fanai, Fanye, Fawny, and Phoebe. We're the fanny pack. Welcome, ladies, to the fine art of Brady, suppression. Today, we're gonna learn how to keep those pesky defense attorneys in the dark.
We're ready.
Now, Attorney No Love and Attorney Slip-On Hilton, let's start with the basics. What is Brady evidence?
In 1963, the Supreme Court of the United States heard the case of Brady v. Maryland, which dealt with the issue of prosecutors withholding evidence that could potentially exonerate a defendant or lessen their punishment. The defendant's lawyer requested access to the accomplice's statements, but a crucial statement was withheld by the prosecution until after the trial and sentencing had concluded. The central issue was whether this restriction violated the defendant's constitutional rights. The Supreme Court, in its decision, upheld the Maryland Court of Appeals ruling that the suppressed confession would not have reduced the defendant's offense below first-degree murder. The court determined that denying a retrial for guilt did not violate equal protection and maintained that the petitioner should receive a new trial concerning punishment only, not guilt.
What is Brady evidence?
Evidence favorable to the defendant that the prosecution must disclose.
Excellent. Now, how do we prevent that evidence from ever seeing the light of day? First, we misplace it. A little accidental loss never hurt anyone. Or we can bury it deep in the bowels of our file system. And if all else fails, what I had heard was our system got hacked.
But what if the defense requested?
Well, No Love, that's where the delay tactics come in. We stall, we obfuscate. We create roadblocks. By the time they get their hands on it, the trial is over and they're too tired to fight it.
But what if the defense find it anyway?
That's when we employ the damage control. We spin it, blame it on the defense, or simply deny its significance. Remember, ladies, confidence is key.
Technique 1, the art of misplacement.
Now, let's talk about misplacement. It's an oldie but goodie. You see, evidence has a funny way of wandering off. A misplaced file, a lost hard drive, or even missing police reports. The key is, if you don't write nothing, you don't got nothing. It seems accidental, but the result is golden. Now remember, Chief Deputy and Chief Double Deputy, the more complex it is, the easier it is to hide a needle in the haystack.
What if the defense asks for discovery?
Ah, good question. We create a generic log filled with vague entries. The less specific, the better.
Is there a risk for getting caught?
Well, of course, there's always a risk, but if done right, the chances of getting caught are slim to none. And remember, the ends always justify the means.
Technique 2, the black hole of delay.
Next up, technique 2, the black hole of delay. This is a delay tactic. This is where patience is your greatest weapon. When the defense requests Brady material, we hit them with a barrage of objections, motions, and appeals. We tie them up in knots until they're begging for mercy. Remember, if you give it to them before the trial is over or before the judge rules, then it's not Brady anymore. Then by the time they finally get their hands on the evidence, it's too late. The trial is over. Or they're so exhausted, they don't even have the energy to fight it. It's beautiful.
How do we avoid accusations of prosecutorial misconduct?
The key is plausible deniability. Blame it on overworked staff or on a clerical error. Never, ever admit to any intentional delay.
Now, what if a judge get impatient?
A little flattery goes a long way. Remind the judge of their busy schedule and how your delay is actually saving them time in the long run.
Technique 3, the spin doctor.
The next technique, number 3, is the spin doctor. Now let's talk damage control. If, by some miracle, the defense actually gets their hands on the evidence, we can go on the offense. We spin the story, blame junior staff, or claim the evidence is irrelevant. And don't worry, the judge will usually jump in here. Remember, confidence is key. If you act like you're in control, people will believe you.
Excuse me, what if the evidence is too damning to spin?
Well, in that case, we resort to plan B. Discredit the witness, attack their credibility, and hope the jury doubts their testimony.
Isn't this unethical?
Ethics are for amateurs, ladies. This is about winning.
Technique 4, the nuclear explosion.
And finally, technique 4, the nuclear explosion. Now, if all else fails and the defense is relentless, we have one final weapon, the nuclear option. We lock up the defense attorney, a little contempt charge here, a sneaky remark there, and boom, they're behind bars. The message is clear. Mess with us, you pay the price.
Isn't that a bit extreme?
Well, sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. Besides, it sends a powerful message to the other defense attorneys.
What if the judge doesn't cooperate?
Don't worry about the judge. If he slips up, I'll remove his ass faster than I put him in that seat. A little persuasion might be...
Y'all, the accuracy is so crazy. Ain't he gone? Ain't Glenville gone?
necessary. A friendly reminder of their career aspirations could work wonders. Don't worry, I'll handle that part. And there you have it, ladies. The complete Brady suppression playbook. Master these techniques and you'll be unstoppable. And remember now, the justice system is ours to shape.
Shout out to Flesh of the God. That had me laughing when I first watched it. Let me see if I can find Flesh of the God. Here we go, right there. Flesh of the Gods with a Z. And I believe there's more videos on that channel. So if y'all want to check him out, go over there and subscribe. I'm glad that he was able to pop into the chat. I just happened to click on your channel. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Oh man, that gave me a good laugh because it was not only funny, it was so truthful that the taxes, if you really listen, a lot of those things really happen throughout the course of the trial. So this is crazy work. And I wouldn't be surprised that that was really their tactics. Oh man, that's wild. Moogie said he be lit like you do. Shout out to Plead. Man, that was so. Oh, that was good. Shout out to Flesh of the God. Yes, we got our entertainment. Shout out to Flesh of the Gods. And y'all can just type the name directly into YouTube. I remember one time I had said it. Somebody said, "How do you spell Flesh of the Gods?" I said, "Well, it's kind of like right there. It ain't number one. It ain't number one." And I knew they allowed us to play last time, so I knew it wasn't gonna be a big deal for us to play. So thank you, Flesh of the Gods. All right. So this is diabolical. H-Town Lord 1913. If you don't write nothing, you don't got nothing. Where is the lie? Remember, and then in the video they said you can blame it on a hack. That was actually part of the trial. They said somebody hacked something and wiped everything out. You had detectives coming to trial. Oh, I lost my files. Detective with the dentist? Like what? It was so much accuracy. Oh my goodness. And it was so funny. Sometimes Hilton would say something and then she'll mess up and she'll start all the way over. And they actually incorporated that in the video. It was so funny because it was like real life. Oh man, y'all. But thank y'all so much for joining. This is definitely interesting to see the outcome. I mean, I thought we would be here watching the jury, but now we're here watching a comedy video. So we'll take it. We'll take it. I think the pleas so far have been good for all parties. I think Lil Rod got a good plea. And I don't believe, see, when Lil Rod was accepting his plea, the prosecutor said this plea can't be used for enhancement purposes. Lil Rod was like, hold on now. Lawyer, what she mean by that? Enhancement? I'm facing a life sentence. I already have a life sentence. What does she mean by enhancement? And that only means for future crimes. It can't go back and enhance a charge you already had before you pled. It doesn't work like that. That'll be like what we call ex post facto, where you trying to put the punishment before the crime. So that won't work. And I think Lil Rod was concerned. But if you get any more felonies in the future, then they can go back and enhance your punishment because you already had, previous felonies. Something like a 3 strikes you're out. That's here in Texas as well. You have 2 felony convictions, and the third one they could enhance you all the way up 25 to life. But they have to be one after the other, not all at the same time. Oh, thank you, Curly Lock Diva. Thank you. H-Town Lord 1913. That entire video was really on point. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. You never know where our discussion is going to go. Always end up in laughter. Yes. Okay. H-Town Lawyer 1913. Keep up the great work, counselor. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you, H-Town Lawyer. Thank you for popping in and checking on us over here. I know y'all don't have to stop in over here. There's plenty of other channels y'all can be watching. but y'all decided to stop by here for a little bit. So thank you so much for doing that. Oh man, hey, Bruce say that's why we got the best check. Come on here, Bruce. And also Curly like Diva for backdooring. Thank you. Man. That's really nice of y'all. Really nice. See, people see it flash on the screen and they don't realize these are actual dollars that's coming out of their pockets. They didn't have to do this. So thank you so much, Curly Lock Diva and H-Town Lawyer 1913. She said, you're welcome. Miss Bridget Williams said, you have a safe environment. You are great. Thank you. Thank you. And I try to have different people give their opinions. Whenever y'all click the link, some of y'all scared to hit the link. And it's okay to disagree. I always say we're not robots. We're not going to always agree. Chat is inclusive and laid back. They said this chat is undefeated, though. This chat is undefeated. Come on. The chat is undefeated. Does regular court continue tomorrow? This is what they say. But according to the video we just watched, we know how they lie. Allegedly. Curly, like, you put in a lot of work. I love to hear your take on what's going on in court. I get confused with the legal jargon sometimes. Yes. Undefeated. The best. Yeah, y'all the best chat. Definitely. Jiggy. All right, y'all. I'm not going to hold y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm not going to hold y'all. I know y'all need to get some rest. Be ready for tomorrow. I believe it's, what, 6:30 in Atlanta? It's 5:30 here. Somebody said, just depends on page. And I almost said something. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Somebody finna unsubscribe because I was finna say it. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. Let me go. I'm lost. I had a busy day. Okay, I'll leave it up for the replay. Yeah, thank y'all. Thank you again, Curly Lock Diva, for your kind contribution, and also the H-Town Lawyer 1913. All right, y'all. I see my members in the chat. Thank y'all for being members. Y'all always support, so thank y'all. I see y'all. I like to see that logo on the side of y'all names. That's how I know who the real ones up in the chat. The ones that been here for a while, when I see that membership sticker on there. And then my ones hiding in the bushes. I see you hiding back there. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. Because I know it's been a long day. All right, it's been a long day. All right, y'all, let me go. But before I go, let me give my legal disclaimer. No legal advice intended. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. I'm just here to talk that law. Thank y'all so much. Hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Let's go.